5 tips on how Lauren Sanchez bagged a billionaire, according to Shallon Lesters. So, with my Lauren Sanchez series, I'll be reviewing it to help you get ahead in life and marry rich or become rich yourself. Ramasani, how do you do? Some of you ladies recommended that I follow Shallon Lesters' channel, and lo and behold, she is doing a video on this week's subject. And you thought I might like her channel. Well, I'm also half Russian, and I was utterly shocked. How can you talk about marrying into money on one hand and make nasty, beastly, racist statements towards women like myself on the other, and then defame the first lady for being Slavic? So one thing she says, that Lauren Sanchez is a girl's girl and is not jealous of other ladies, and that's why Jeff Bezos likes her, right? And that's how she got married. Yes, she got married. And Shallon, you did not. Shallon states some absolutely unacceptable things about Slavic women because she is so jealous about us that she uses racist stereotypes. Imagine if someone said this about African American women or Muslim women. Everyone would be outraged, right? But it's okay to be racist if you're Slav. I'm half Arab, half Slav. If you see something Islamophobic and racist that, those Arab girls will blow you up and that we're all ISIS, I will make a video saying that is not classy, and you are in no position to talk about marrying into money when money does business around the world, right? And just because, Russians are considered white and being mixed race, right? It isn't, because we have a lot of the same brown survival values, but we're, there's the white genetics and the whole thing. So, it's okay to hate on Russians because they're the brown white people, basically. They're white on the outside and they have enough brown on the inside that, if it was an Arab, you'd keep your mouth shut, right? But if it's a Russian, you can now hate the same woman and say the racist thing you were dying to say about us Arabs, right? Like all the comments I get about my Arabic makeup, passive aggressive, right? No, it's jealousy. I know, right? So, Shallon Shalligator, the Mississippi River, Florida village alligator, alleged that Melania, the first lady, who is a model, was an escort just because she's Slavic, okay? Not acceptable, not elite to say this, okay? Even Trump was not racist, but prided himself in cross-cultural communication until he ran for office and went totally the other way. Because, what you do to win elections is you don't appeal to the elite like you do when you do business, but you appeal to the masses. So, Shalligator defamed the first lady saying she was an escort. No. Okay, that's so low class. She was a model. I also read every interview about Melania. I read her book. I read all the books on her. If you want, I can do a review on Melania. And everywhere it said, unlike other models who did yachting, did promotional modeling, hung out with gentlemen for extra money because it's difficult in New York. Melania stayed at home and did the exact opposite because her goal was to land a high value gentleman, and they wouldn't like it if she were a yacht girl. She knew it would reduce her chances of finding an affluent, successful husband. So those rumors are utterly unfounded. Of course, I'll get to why Lauren Sanchez is so successful. And yes, I think one of the main reasons is that she is not sitting there hating on Slavic women and calling Melania the lady of the night because she has racism towards us Slavs, okay? Lauren Sanchez has a life. I'm half Arab, half Russian, but also in the Arab side of my family, I'm part Ethiopian and Somali. So if someone is, calling my people monkeys, I'll get offended, right? I will. And I'll make a YouTube, and especially it's like, oh, how to marry rich, and all Maria and her race, they're all monkeys eating bananas. You know what? Yes, that's why you are just used for fun and no affluent gentleman married you. That's why. Slavs had a much more difficult history with World War I, World War II, a lot of wars, tragedy, poverty, etc., right? And, lived much harder lives than the highly soft life Westerners have, and is more comparable to the life of people of color. Therefore, we have values of survival. We have survival values just like most people of color, right? Level up is do or die for many Slavic people. Much the same you could say in the developing world, which is mostly brown and black. So Slavic women often grew up in difficult circumstances in developing countries that were not as affluent as the West, right? So you couldn't have fool around and be stupid. You had to have survival values. You had to have game. You have to know how to level up, right? So what she's saying about Russian sugar babies and Melania, she really, Shallon wants to say this about black soft life girlies. But she knows if she says what she thinks about black women, she will get cancelled. So she won't do this. It's between the lines. So Shallon goes after Melania with the racist trope, saying, oh, and what does she do, right? It's what those red pill, nasty, broke down, dusty losers say about black ladies who want to live a soft life. Oh, what do you bring to the table, right? What do you do? And then, just like a misogynist, right? Just like one of those red pill who specifically go after black women. Okay. It's like what she's doing with Slavic women. She wants to go after black soft life girlies, but doesn't want to get cancelled, so she goes after us, right? And she says, well, you know what? Lauren Sanchez was a teammate and not someone looking for a soft life. She had masculine values and worked as hard as a man, and therefore, because she was such a masculine gentleman, right? Because of, and those muscles, this inspired Jeff Bezos to fall at his feet and stand up and say, yes sir, yes sir. So she says that Barack Obama is a high-value gentleman because she wants to steal a black high-value gentleman. And then I went and I was looking through her content because you ladies recommended it, and it was talking about how to blow dryer but not hair and have a blow dryer job. And if you don't like to use your blow dryer on gentlemen, it's not a reason why a high-value gentleman would break up with you, which, sure, of course, that's common sense and I would agree. But why on earth post this on YouTube when you're single, looking to mingle? Your intimate preferences should be kept in the bedroom. Now, if you're married and your husband thinks it's lovely, maybe he has a king, or maybe he just thinks it's okay, it's educational, whatever, he's open-minded, then go. If you have not secured the ring, keep your bedroom life, shall we say, a mystery. So, calling Melania or any model a lady of the night shows that you have absolutely no class and don't belong in a room with affluent people who have traveled to Europe at least once in their lives. As we know, the elite are in Europe often. So that is so embarrassing. I couldn't believe she said that. So I have researched Melania. If you want videos on Melania and her strategy, write in the comments below. So I have done all my research. There isn't a single shred of evidence that she was an escort or a yacht girl, right? There are far more rumors about the Kardashians, and you know what? It might be jealousy, but the fact is that there is, probably is, right? I don't take it seriously, but there is absolutely nothing. And if there was, it would be on CNN, breaking news, right? So they upturned every single leaf that they could find, every rock, everything. They couldn't find a single shred of evidence. In fact, Melania was very chaste, very much like a nun for her career, because it's so expensive in New York. What do models do? Like, you've heard of the cocaine parties. Why do so many models do cocaine? Right? It's highly expensive. So, you know, it's life paycheck to paycheck. It's not very fun being a model in New York City, right? So what affluent gentlemen do, they know this, they take advantage of it, and they have these dinners, right? Emily Ratajkowski talked about this in her book, My Body. So they have these dinners and do promotional modeling. So if you are not in New York City, if you're in Ottawa, promotional modeling is wearing a company t-shirt and handing out raffle tickets at the door, right? But in New York City, it's promoting a club or promoting a restaurant. So elite gentlemen will buy a table and they're, oh, we're promoting this restaurant, right? And they just want these beautiful models to hang around extremely wealthy gentlemen, right? And the ones buying those tables, they don't want to marry these young models. It's, you know, it's a pipeline to yachting, if you know what I mean. Melania knew this, and Melania knew she was there to marry an affluent gentleman. That was her goal. She knew that these promotional modeling, while of course this would pad her pockets, this would prevent her from getting married because affluent gentlemen, her target, would perceive her as being easy. In fact, she made sure she wouldn't have the reputation of being a party girl. When all the other models went partying, Melania stayed at home, and all her former roommates can attest to that she was quiet when everyone was out partying, being paid to party. Melania would forgo a paycheck because her goal in the long term was to marry someone successful, and if she was known on the party scene, she would not get married. I mean, it's possible, but it's much more difficult, right? See, here's a bonus. How Melania bagged a billionaire. What did she do? She made sure she would not have the reputation of being a party girl. So among the affluent and elite, if you're a supermodel and you're European and you have done nude art modeling, it's not held against you. Now, if you sell your feet pictures fully clothed on OnlyFans, this is completely held against you, right? Sure, some escorts and yacht girls do marry affluent, but it's much harder. So what Melania did was smart, and if you want more on Melania, write in the comments. So while I was in Europe, I saw Napoleon Bonaparte's sister sculpted nude, right, in Via Borghese. So Pauline Borghese was sculpted by Canova in the sculpture Venus Victrix, where she was shown nude on a couch. Okay, so that's what I saw in Rome, and she was the sister of Napoleon, and this was a gift with the marriage of her to the noble Italian Borghese family. Does this mean that Napoleon Bonaparte's sister, Pauline Borghese, was a yacht girl and a lady of the night? No, she was not an escort. Sorry, Shalligator. So this Karen Shalligator asks, what does Melania do? Like those pickup artists, what do you bring to the table? Alright? Melania does not owe you an explanation of her private life. Allow her to have her privacy. That is class. Western feminists are actually misogynist, that a woman only has value if she's like a man. So she is basically attacking black soft life girlies indirectly, because that's who she really wants to go after and cannot. And says, oh, what do you bring to the table? Why are you not a workaholic pack donkey? Know your place. Shalligator, who's still single in her 40s, believes that a woman only has value if she is a man. I noticed, however, that straight men are not gay. So she goes on with a false narrative saying that because she was a teammate, because of her helicopter pilot thing. Actually, that was a genius, the helicopter pilot thing, and we'll go into that later. I do have a video on this coming up at the same time. She said, and this is blatantly untrue, that Lauren Sanchez succeeded where Russian sugar babes, aka black soft life girlies, would fail because it's a power couple and Lauren Sanchez wants to be part of a team and wants to be Barbara the Builder and, you know, does not want a soft life. That's how she got him. And what? Did they also split the bill 50-50? She's going to add that too. No, that's a joke. This is actually true of why he left the first one, right? And then Shalligator says the trajectory of entrepreneurs is true. And that's when they marry Mackenzie Bezos, Barbara the Builder. So when a nerd or a dweeb wants to get ahead, but he's nobody, and he lacks social skills, being a nerd and dweeb, okay? And maybe it's autism, maybe Jeff is on the spectrum, or maybe he is so intelligent that that's where all the gray matter in his brain went, and not much was left in the social area of the brain, so he thought he would lead with his strength. He would make millions, become affluent, and then would dump Bob the Builder eventually for who he really wanted, but he could not get in high school and as a young gentleman because he was unattractive, awkward, and had early balding. You can actually see this is true, right? Because look at Lauren and her taste, right? And she could read the room and saw that Jeff Bezos did not just want a sultry Latina. He wanted, the Playboy pinup. He could not bang in his youth. In his youth, he just had to pick whichever pick-me-sha would pick him and who would build his business, and this way at least he would get laid, right? He would empty his oranges, shall we say, right? So he would squeeze his lemons, and not the Amalfi Coast kind, into the receptacle, the male juices bathroom, right? And this is what I tell you ladies to be careful of, that gentlemen, when they need to go, they need to go, and they will go and find a male juices loo in, a washroom, toilet, right? To empty their juices, right? So when you want to go to the facilities and you need to go, you will even go to McDonald's because it's better than the bushes, right? You'll say, oh, I'll pay for his meal. I need to go. Oh, key, washroom key, please. And you'll say how horrible it is and you'll never see that place again, right? Now, if you don't have an emergency and just need to powder your nose and correct your lipstick, you'll be correcting your lipstick at the Four Seasons mirror, right? Or Galeries Lafayette, Nordstrom, your favorite, maybe Tiffany's, right? And this is where you will in the washroom, right? The type of a washroom some young ladies would not be embarrassed to take a mirror selfie in. So, where am I going with the male juices toilet? My husband is a startup founder in technology. So my husband is fairly social because he is handsome and was a pretty boy, right, when he was younger. And in university, girls jumped on him and he took the opportunity and was a playboy because why not? When you are a broke university student and you're hot and you get some action and the action comes to you, why would you say no, right? So he participated in the university hookup culture. What did that do to my husband, and how is this relevant to Jeff Bezos, Lauren Sanchez, and Mackenzie Bezos? So, after having a lot of access to easy, free kitty cat, and he knew that they would just, he's cute, so they would just jump on him, it became boring. And then he wanted the classy ladies, so he invited a classy Asian girl for his, graduation engineering prom date. She said yes, of course, right? She's cute. However, he had to pay for everything. And the other girls, they would jump on him for free, or at most, splitting a beer. And this one, he had to, of course, take her to a classy place and pay for everything. Mind you, as a university student, and mind you, he did save up for this, right? And it was a wonderful experience. But being a student who didn't have a job, except for a part-time job, he did not have the money to continue dating her. And eventually that made him think, okay, you know what, these classy ladies, when he started working, he realized, oh, those classy ladies, well, they like nice places. Beautiful ladies like beautiful places. Beautiful places cost. So that eventually inspired him to start his own company and do his master's, his MBA, and so on and so forth, and level up financially so that he could date classy ladies and marry someone like me. We classy feminine girlies do have standards. And having those standards make gentlemen level up. When he was younger, the easy floozies were called thoughties. That ho 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 Merry Christmas over there. Now they're called 305s. So it's the age in thought, right? If you take your alarm and put 304, so you flip it over, it spells, it's censored, right? And some of the 304s would have augmentation, all of this. And when you're young and attractive, it's free, right? They jump on you and all of this. And you can be a broke, dusty loser, but if you're a hot, broke, dusty loser, you can get a lot of free kitty when, you're in the university age. And even when you start working, right? When you're that young, if you're hot, she's hot, it works, right? Now, if you are a dweeb and a nerd and lack charisma and start balding like Jeff Bezos, you're not going to get any free kitty. You're screwed. You're lucky to get anything whatsoever. So that's why they don't value the class, because they wanted to go for the fun girls, right? And they stood no chance, because, in university, the most popular girl at the first year of university during Frosh Week obviously is the girl who has the big chest and who is easy. She's the most popular girl in Frosh Week. And Jeff Bezos did not have that experience. He was excluded from this rite of passage. Most other gentlemen bang the big bimbo and don't crave that look anymore. I'm not at all saying Lauren Sanchez is a floozy, but we can all agree that her style of dressing is out there, right? So is mine. I'm on the spectrum, okay? And both of our styles of dress get the gentleman. So Lauren Sanchez used to dress more sexy, classy, but she could read Jeff Bezos like a book, that he did not have a chance to experience the teenage dream most young men were able to. So she kept getting a lot of augmentations and started dressing in a way that was inappropriate for other gentlemen. Luxury is custom, and you do have to read your target. Most gentlemen would have banged the busty bimbo in university or as a young gentleman. They did it again. It got boring because she had no personality, And then after that, he wanted something harder to get and developed a taste for classy ladies. This is the majority of gentlemen. The majority of gentlemen would be like my husband, okay? Or their money finally enabled them to buy, an escort who had the big bust. They did her a few times, it got boring, they moved on, and then they decided they want someone classy, right? Once you did it, you get bored and you move on. Now, Jeff Bezos, when he was broke, he was undesirable as possible because his personality was so nerdy. He didn't know how to social. He was so much of a nerd and a dweeb. His look was not attractive. So if you have an exquisite, excellent personality, you can personality over terrible looks. But he had neither looks nor personality. So he was probably a male virgin when he met Mackenzie Bezos. And she not only emptied his lemons for him, and not the Amalfi kind. Then, this Barbara the builder built Amazon. She offered to build the entire business. So here she comes, offering free kitty, free maid, free chef, half the bills paid, and built his business and makes him rich. You thought, why not? And you know why they divorced so easily? Because she built Amazon. And he used her to build Amazon and get the credit and to be Barbara the builder. So that's why there was no prenup, because she built Amazon. I mean, she was the key of the co-founders doing this, do that, and he did the tech side, but basically she was the CEO in the beginning, right? She was the teammate, she was the co-pilot, and then when they made the billions and he could get whatever he wanted, he was ready to dump her. So, Shalligator, I'm sorry, but the whole teammate story is all about Mackenzie Bezos. She was Barbara the builder, and she was the actual teammate. And yeah, what happened? She got replaced by the fun girl. Lauren Sanchez is the vice president of fun in the Bezos Corporation. She's not a teammate, neither am I. So Jeff Bezos said that he would, in a dangerous situation, hand Lauren the gun. Alright, my husband said the same. I'm a housewife. I'm very good with guns, I know how to shoot them, okay? So, yeah, obviously, if there is a military conflict, right, he is at the back, I'm here, and then we're, right? I mean, obviously. And, you should be, I'm autistic, and I'm the one who has trouble reading between the lines. As a neurotypical, you should see between the lines. When a woman is feminine, gentlemen would say all the empowered things about her. Like, my wife is strong, and so on and so forth. If he says his wife is independent, she's probably a housewife. And sorry to be so graphic about the lovely Mackenzie Bezos, who's a classy lady who does amazing charity work. But I hope using such, yes, vulgar terminology wakes ladies up to understand how they're being taken advantage of and used as a parking spot for a gentleman to squeeze out his oranges and empty his orange juice into that bin. Don't be the orange juice dumpster. Don't be the male juice's bathroom. When he has to go, he has to go. instead be the dream girl. Those of you who are new to my channel, watch the video linked below about the conservative leader Pierre Poilievre and how his former parking spot worked so hard to build him only to be thrown out for some soft feminine girly, right? And sure, Anita Poilievre, she's extremely smart, right? She is extremely smart. It's not a joke. And she's beautiful, okay? So she is so intelligent that she understands that if she had worked, her behind off, worked so hard, she would simply be fired by someone jealous and would get nowhere, unlike a gentleman. So she knew that if she wanted a career or anything, it is through marriage. Amal Clooney is like that as well with performative work, right? So, those famous cases, they're pro bono, that's not what you get paid for. So she was not the hard-working lawyer out there to make partner. She did the 9 to 5 and then took on famous pro bono cases to up her profile and also her firm's profile, but mainly hers, so that she could date in the right circles. Of course, in the West, they portray the level-down propaganda, the masculine propaganda. It says it's feminist, but it's somehow, misogyny propaganda that femininity has no value and your only value is when you are acting like a gentleman. But when you are acting like a gentleman for real, they don't want you. Look at Hillary Clinton. She was dumb enough to fall for it, right? And how does she look like? Is she the epitome of beauty? Monica Lewinsky looked far more refreshed than her. So, you know what? It's better to be Lauren Sanchez than Hillary Clinton. And it's better to be Monica Lewinsky than Hillary Clinton. Women are not valued, even in Western, even in egalitarian societies, for being a career woman, all right? You're not valued for that. Sorry, Shalligator, that's a lie. If you knew the truth, you'd be married right now and giving relationship advice from the point of view of a wife, if at all, because for you, relationships matter so much that you talk about them all day, all night, in your channel. You would have achieved what you talk about the most. Now, I was writing a post today about feminine energy. The magnetic feminine energy. It comes from softness. This is what's attractive, okay? And that comes from boundaries, saying no and listening to your body. I've not always had the best health. Sometimes I had, because you know what? I worked really hard and I burnt myself out. I was so career oriented. I used to be a feminist, right? I'm still paying for those decisions today with my body. I burnt myself out. I wanted to outwork the boys, but as women, our bodies are simply not built that way. See, men's pelvis, they don't have the large hole in the middle of the pelvis to push out babies. Their pelvis cannot push out babies. Why? Because it's built for running. Their bodies, they're built for work, for labor, for carrying. And also their stamina, they can work more hours even in an office. If women work the hours and the stress gentlemen have, we start having health problems. So studies have even shown that women require far more rest. And also we're cyclical. So when we have our ovulation, we're able to work longer hours. And during our time of the month and a bit before and after, that is when you have to work less and you have to work with your cycle. You know, my doctor said we only have one body and we must listen to our body. If we don't, our body will unalive us. Do you want to get cancer, or do you want to have a good life, a long life, a healthy life? That starts with feminine energy. So what's feminine energy? It's not woo-woo. As women, it's putting our bodies first and living in harmony with our body. So when you're young, you might not have choice with work, but your goal, you'll have much more energy in your 20s to make all the mistakes and survive, right? So your goal in your 20s should be able to reorient into the type of a profession where you can have some rest and not, overwork yourself into a burnout. We tell girls the wrong things to get into Harvard, when instead we should tell young women, your body can unalive you, okay? If you run down your female body by pretending it's male, it will give way and unalive you, okay? And then if you have children, they'll have no mother. Think about that, okay? So forget about having a career. It's just not for you, okay? You're born the wrong gender, too bad, okay? Otherwise, if it's just how it is. So spend your 20s, you can actually work much more. You have more energy in your youth, right? And use this to get into a job that allows you to be in harmony with your body and not overwork yourself and still have a roof over your head. And if you want more than that, then marry more than that. So feminine energy comes from being in harmony with your body. So Lauren Sanchez is very youthful in her personality because she already has this feminine energy, right? So this means, and this is what I learned, right, that I might promise something to someone and I really want it done. However, as a feminine woman, you have your spouse, your family, my parents, whatever. If you might be responsible for a pet, something let's say, your pet needs to go to the vet. It's okay. There's nothing wrong. You're a woman. You're feminine. If you're pretty, it's okay. It's okay to not be that responsible because you are not a gentleman. If you had to care for your pet or babysit your niece or something and you could not deliver something exactly on time, or you had a really bad time of the month and so you had to relax and deliver something a few days later, that's how you have a long life, right? My hair, this is my hair, right? I don't dye my hair yet and I'm in my 40s. My mother dyed her hair at my age, right? And I just learned a lot more, right? I have a nutritionist, I exercise, once in a while I'll go back to my trainer, etc., right? So I go to my doctor, right? I have a therapist. I have a whole system to keep me healthy, to keep me alive. Because of my autism, I had a few scares, and that's why I have a system. And the system keeps me happy and healthy. I have to say no to masculinity because my body will shut down. I'm too fragile to be a pack donkey. I must put my health first. I must be proactive with my health, as in be healthy to prevent problems instead of running myself down and whoops, bye-bye Maria. So studies have even shown that women require far more rest. And also we're cyclical. So when we have our ovulation, we're able to work longer hours, and during our time of the month and a bit before and after, that is when you have to work less, and you have to work with your cycle. You know, my doctor said we only have one body and we must listen to our body. If we don't, our body will unalive us. Do you want to get cancer, or do you want to have a good life, a long life, a healthy life? That starts with feminine energy. So what's feminine energy? It's not woo-woo. As women, it's putting our bodies first and living in harmony with our body. So when you're young, you might not have choice with work, but your goal, you'll have much more energy in your 20s to make all the mistakes and survive, right? So your goal in your 20s should be able to reorient into the type of a profession where you can have some rest and not, overwork yourself into a burnout. We tell girls the wrong things to get into Harvard, when instead we should tell young women, your body can unalive you, okay? If you run down your female body by pretending it's male, it will give way and unalive you, okay? And then if you have children, they'll have no mother. Think about that, okay? So forget about having a career. It's just not for you, okay? You're born the wrong gender, too bad, okay? Otherwise, if it's just how it is. So spend your 20s, you can actually work much more. You have more energy in your youth, right? And use this to get into a job that allows you to be in harmony with your body and not overwork yourself and still have a roof over your head. And if you want more than that, then marry more than that. So feminine energy comes from being in harmony with your body. So Lauren Sanchez is very youthful in her personality because she already has this feminine energy, right? So this means, and this is what I learned, right, that I might promise something to someone and I really want it done. However, as a feminine woman, you have your spouse, your family, my parents, whatever. If you might be responsible for a pet, something let's say, your pet needs to go to the vet. It's okay. There's nothing wrong. You're a woman. You're feminine. If you're pretty, it's okay. It's okay to not be that responsible because you are not a gentleman. If you had to care for your pet or babysit your niece or something, and you could not deliver something exactly on time, or you had a really bad time of the month, and so you had to relax and deliver something a few days later, that's how you have a long life, right? My hair, this is my hair, right? I don't dye my hair yet, and I'm in my 40s. My mother dyed her hair at my age, right? And I just learned a lot more, right? I have a nutritionist, I exercise, once in a while I'll go back to my trainer, etc., right? So I go to my doctor, right? I have a therapist. I have a whole system to keep me healthy, to keep me alive. Because of my autism, I had a few scares, and that's why I have a system. And the system keeps me happy and healthy. I have to say no to masculinity because my body will shut down. I'm too fragile to be a pack donkey. I must put my health first. I must be proactive with my health, as in be healthy to prevent problems instead of running myself down and whoops, bye bye Maria. So what did Lauren actually do to bag Jeff Bezos? She was the fun girl. And I'm too. So if you go through my little shorts, you will see that I have fun. I plan my family vacations, I do fun things, I am creative, positive, right? Right? She was the fun girl. She is not the workaholic, right? She prioritizes her body, her health, her mind, see? And after Jeff Bezos retired, he started to prioritize those same things. And Barbara the Builder kept prioritizing building. So Jeff Bezos made the money, and now he wants to enjoy it and live his life. So at the time he had sold Amazon and started to go after his passion, Blue Origin, all about space. And Lauren was into helicopters, so they had common interests. Shalligator, the shallow, of course, said, oh, this is for her to say that, oh, she's not a gold digger. At that stage, with that money, they don't care, okay? But rather, it made her fun and interesting. If you have no interests, you will not get somebody like Jeff Bezos. So, elite gentlemen look for a friend, not a partner, a friend. Someone who's fun, they're looking for their best friend, okay? Someone who can keep up a conversation, right? Someone who is also light-hearted, enjoys life, is in great health. They might not have a work-life balance, but you should. Elite gentlemen don't prioritize ladies who prioritize their career because they're not gay. Elite gentlemen prioritize ladies who prioritize our health and put our health first. So Lauren was saying no to becoming a top anchor at CNN or Fox, right? She worked enough to be in that industry, but she knew that her value was in her femininity. So she always took great care of her body, exercised, and never overworked herself. You see? Same with Amal Clooney. Do you see a pattern? Same with Melania. Melania would say no to party jobs, right? Because she knew that it conflicted with her goals. So pick-me's do not get the top gentleman. So Lauren Sanchez was able to be positive because she could say no, okay? She prioritized herself and put herself first. As elite ladies, we put ourselves first. If you want to get anyone you want, you have to believe in yourself. Because if you don't, why are you asking for anyone else to believe in what you don't? So do believe in yourself, that you are a treasure. You're the most important treasure in the world. So take care of that treasure and say no as often as possible, and put yourself first and prioritize yourself. That Shalligator made such crude racist stereotypes about us Russian ladies, calling us sugar babes and saying, oh, you know, that Russian sugar baby will never get that gentleman, Oh, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like anything here. You know, I'm sorry if you're saying that. You know, are you sleeping with your cousin? She says she likes younger gentlemen. Is she from Alabama sleeping with her nephew? Like, where does she get these funny ideas about Russians? And as for Russian sugar babes, I worked in the Canadian Parliament and I actually met some of them. Yes, because Canada and Russia used to have relations before Putin invaded anything and everyone. And they would have all these Russian oligarchs who would come to go to the parliament, meet the right people because they want to start business here and there. And some of them would bring their mistress, so I got to meet them. Well, she would look like she's his secretary or something of the sort, but exceptionally drop-dead gorgeous assistant, you know, or she was the engineer, right? Engineer is very common. And highly educated, would know everything about the art, the opera, excellent communicator, right? Jeff Bezos said that Lauren Sanchez almost has a witchy sense of intuition working with people. Well, every Russian sugar babe of an oligarch is trained. There's schools for this. In, you know, it's not just protocol and etiquette, but of course diplomacy, etc. And if not, they learn on the job. Basically, yes, having social skills and being able to fit in with elite, anticipate people's needs, you know, and know how to work the room. This is essential in not only Russian sugar babies, but also Russian women are taught this from their mothers. You know, Russian wives are like this. Slavic wives are excellent diplomats, right? And we know how to read a room. Right below if you want to hear my grandmother's level up secrets from Russia. Below. So Jeff Bezos says Lauren Sanchez understands people. And Shallon says, oh, this is because she's a sociopath. No, lady, to level up, you need social skills. And I know this because I had a Russian mother and I grew up with autism, so of course my mother was paranoid. I was taught, and I had no social skills, I was taught social skills. I was taught how to be a socialite and how to read a room and how to anticipate what people were thinking so that with my husband I could smooth things over, right? And they teach this for the girl's future husband so that, because gentlemen are doing the business, right? And as a lady, they're focused on the deal. And as a lady, since you're there being social, you're like, oh, I checked and I heard that he likes a certain type of tea, and you know, if you give him his love language perhaps is gifts or words of affirmation, whatever it is. So if you give him that business deal, you're more likely to close and in your terms. Yes, Slavic mothers teach their daughters social skills on how to read the room and how to be an effective diplomat. Not a nice girl, no. How to get what you want out of a negotiation. Contrary to Shallon of the Florida swamp, or wherever she's from, my mother has a close friend who's like the Russian Lauren Sanchez in terms of personality. So Lauren still has her innocence, and she says, oh, isn't this magical? Oh my, isn't that magical? Oh, how lovely. So she's so positive. And yes, Shallon right. This positive innocence is so magnetic and charismatic. You see this in young people, and that's why older people, such as myself, like to mentor young people because it's lovely to see the world through their eyes of possibility, because you can easily become bitter and cynical because when you've had more experience, you've had more no's, you've had more rejections, you've had more problems, and it's so easy to go into victim mindset, and then you get in a bigger hole and there are more problems, and it's a endless, cycle down, right? So instead, a good virtuous cycle is to surround yourself with positive, joyful, especially young people. If you have something of value, for example, my life experience, I've lived through some of the problems they have, and I have a few solutions. So I offer my solutions, and they offer their positivity. And I keep seeing the world through that positive lens. Ladies, if there is anyone who's very negative and always bitter and saying why you can't do this, why you can't do that, they are an energy vampire, and they will suck away your feminine energy and you'll stop being attractive, okay? Attractive is not just looks. There are many ladies who are far more attractive supermodels than Lauren Sanchez, but she got Jeff Bezos. A lot of it was her personality. She was hot enough, okay? But there was personality, and they had things in common, which is what you need in a marriage. And gentlemen marry someone who makes them feel understood, who could be a best friend. So in a way, Shalligator is correct, right? She's correct, where if you have no life of your own and you just want to be soft and you just sit there and watch TikTok all day, how can someone successful relate to you? So you need to have your life. You need to have something you're trying to do, okay? Don't unalive yourself for it, but have a hobby, have a life. This way you can communicate with someone successful about your fun, eccentric hobby, and you can share and talk about your different hobbies together and bond, and therefore become friends, and he'll fall in love and want to marry you, okay? I am pretty is not enough. So, as I was saying, contrary to the stereotype by Shalligator, my mother has a friend who's like the Slavic Lauren Sanchez, and she's so positive. She went through so much. I mean, you know what happened in Russia in the 90s. It was absolute hell. She went through hell and back and did not lose her innocence and her positivity. She's always, вау, как красиво, как прекрасно, ой, как хорошо, ой, как красиво, какой прелесть. She's always saying, ой, какой прелесть, как красиво, какое красивое платье. Как красиво is how beautiful. Ой, какой прелесть. Oh, how wonderful, right? So she's always saying that, always positive. So, I wondered why. And one day she said, it's so good to be positive because in life there are setbacks. And you can see the glass half full, it's true, or the glass half empty. But if you see it, if you add negativity to a negative circumstance, it only gets worse. What do you get out of being negative? But if you add positivity, you will get out of that negative circumstance and start thriving. If you're relentlessly positive, even in times of hardship, you will get out of hardship and you will achieve whatever you want in life as long as you stay positive. And I do value this positivity that came from actually hardship. So yes, in life, it's true that the glass can be half full or half empty. So I'll just call my mother's friend Ekaterina. So Katya says that it can be half full, half empty. but what do you get out of seeing it half empty and adding negativity to a negative situation? And I admire this resilient positivity. It's not fake. It's acknowledging that yes, something is difficult, but let's also not devote all of our minds ruminating over the negative. Yes, it's negative. Yes, it sucks. It happened. But you know what? It's sunny outside. Sure, it's cold, but it's sunny. The sun is beautiful. You know, the trees are beautiful. The birds are singing, and we're alive. Maybe when you're young, your joy comes to you naturally. As an adult, you have to fight to keep your joy. And this becomes very infectious, rare, and high value. That's why Lauren Sanchez is seen as a force. It's not the oh my god, I'm cute. It's you know, it's work to be relentlessly positive and see things as magical. And it's worth it. It's difficult. And let's commit to seeing things as magical, ladies. It's as you grow older, we do have changes in our lives. So let's commit to viewing things as magical. Now, let me know in the comments below if you want a part 2 of this video. And Lauren Sanchez videos will be given the priority, and any other things that you would like. Shallon Lesters also gave excellent tips, regarding those monologuers. In some case, it's a red flag, and in some case, it's a green flag. I can tell you when it is a red flag and he's awful. So yes, so affluent gentlemen are not just Shallon's experience with Trump or this Bezos type. And yes, so Shallon did actually meet Trump, so she does not like him, because she met him with Ivanka, and Ivanka said, "Oh, that's such a cute dress." And she said, Ivanka was so lovely, one of the loveliest celebs she's met, and one of the worst was Trump, who then Shallon did a faux pas and blurted out she got it from Forever 21, which is like the Shein of today. And so Trump, she said, gave her a look that she was ineffable, and he was so much older and thought it was inappropriate. No, darling. You know what that look was? So they are sending someone to interview, right? The station or the news agency is sending someone to interview Donald Trump, who worked really hard to be at a certain level, right? And he bought the Plaza Hotel. He really worked hard to get where he was. They sent a reporter so junior and so inexperienced that she was recently an intern, and she talked about how she's in Shein or She In, She Out, or Forever 21, or whatever it was. Then Ivanka tried to save her face, say, "Oh yes, I love it because you can only wear it once and throw it away." So she was trying to smooth things over, but it was too late. So no, it's not that Trump is awful. You made a social faux pas, lowering, showing that your network sent a loser. So of course he was mad at the network for sending someone so inexperienced. So you basically said something inexperienced, and it's okay. But ladies, don't say you wear cheap clothing, okay? So if anything you get out of this video, if you wear something cheap, say, "I don't know where I got it from." Okay? Don't blurt out that it was only $5 on the internet. There is so much more that I want to comment on, but do let me know if you want a part 2 to this video, and I will continue my series on Lauren Sanchez's secrets to how she got that billionaire. I do have more videos of her secrets, including things of my own, tips of my own coming up. So just follow these series and hit subscribe, because I may be uploading more than one video a week. So there's a lot of exciting content going on in Lauren Sanchez season. So do hit subscribe so you don't miss out. Please like or hate, share and subscribe. Arrivederci.